Alright, we're going to go ahead and start building now. We're going to do step number 1 in the manual, and it tells us to open bag A. And they are referring to the bag A that has the different metal parts and whatnot in it. Since you're opening the big bag with all the lettered bags in them, you may want to take inventory and make sure that you have them. They go from A to G. So just take inventory, make sure all the bags are in there. It's a good time to do that. From there, what we've done is we have pulled out and opened all the bags, and we've laid our parts out on the manual so that we know that they're all there. The screws and bearings and whatnot from your bags are all listed on the left-hand side, but generally plastic parts are going to be on the right side, such as the AX8002s, which are these two little housings right here, and they are located in one of the plastics bags. They're not on a tree, they're loose, and they come in this bag here, which has looks like transmission gear and some axle ends and some servo horns and things like that. So that's the bag that you're going to find those in. So we've got everything all laid out. And as we're looking at the directions, we're going to generally just pick a place to start. And for this one, let's go ahead and start from, we have two different sets of directions here. This is a separate sub-assembly, and this is a separate sub-assembly. So let's go ahead and attack this one first. And basically, we're going to take one of our beveled gears. Remember, everything we're going to do twice, because it says ×2 right here on the manual. So we're going to grab one of our bevel gears. This is what the bevel gear looks like. Let's inspect it, make sure no tooths are chipped off. You never know. I always like to inspect each part, make sure there's no burrs, that type of thing on there before we install it. So that one's looking good. You can see that there's a little indentation there where our pin is going to go. Let's grab one of our input shafts. This is the input shaft right here. You can see that there's a hole in one end, a hole towards the top, and then a little area here for a C-clip. See if we can get it to focus in there. You can see the little area here for the C-clip. So we're just going to follow the directions, very simple. We're going to take one of our 2 by, what is that? Looks like a 2 by 10 millimeter pin, and we're going to put it in the uppermost or the middle hole, because we have a hole in the bottom and then we have a hole here. I'm going to slide it through there. Then the bevel gear goes on top, pointing up, and the little slot in the bottom of the bevel gear is going to catch inside the pin. It's not wanting to go all the way in easily, so we're just going to press down on it, and it's seated perfectly. You can see that it goes all the way down inside. So if it's not going all the way in easily, just give it a little push and it'll go in. The important thing is if you look, let's see if we can get this to focus in. If you look on the top, you're going to see that you need clearance in there for the little C-clip. It's a little hard to get that on tape, but you need to make sure that's pressed down far enough for that C-clip to get on. I'm going to grab one of our C-clips. This is always fun. We're going to drop it down inside and see if we can't get this on without flinging it across the room. We're going to go ahead and just start it in. Wish that would focus. Start it in like so, and then use our needle nose pliers and see if we can't get it to go in. It should snap in. It's down inside a groove there, which makes it a little bit more difficult. See, this is where we start having fun. There we go. Want to make sure that it's fully seated in, and you can see that this one isn't. It's kind of good that happened. Let's see if we can show you. See, it's kind of just sitting on there and it hasn't fully seated down into the groove. So we're going to work on that a little bit until it's fully seated. There we go. That's what it's going to look like when it's fully seated. Give it a tug, make sure it's not going to come off. And now we've finished this particular part. We're going to put it in our little plastic tray over here out of the way. And again, I'm going really slow for the first couple steps so you know how I work and you know how the directions work. We're going to go ahead now and start on the main gear assembly. I'm going to grab one of the housings and we're going to put a bearing on there, and the bearing is a 10 by 15 by 4. This is one of the only plugs that I'm going to make as far as using a different product. The bearings that come with the kit are fully capable. However, when you do need replacements, help support our builds by going to FastEddyBearings.com, and we have all sorts of great bearings on there for all your RCs. We're going to go ahead and put the bearing on. Going to slide it down, press it in, make sure it's firmly seated, and when we do that we just want to make sure that it's flat across the top and there's no big grooves or any space underneath there. So I'm going to go ahead and put the bearing on. At this point we're going to grab one of our diff lockers. They're universal, it doesn't matter which way they go in. And we're going to drop the locker down. You can see there's two tabs here, one on each side, and there's two little slots inside the locker, or inside the housing. So we're going to go ahead and drop that down in until it's fully seated. Now we're going to grab one of our little paper washers. This is the little gasket, and you can see that there are two cutouts on there, and those are going to match up with the cutouts that are on the housing where you slip the diff locker in. So make sure that lines up, and it's going to line up with all four of the screw holes, hopefully. Going to swivel that around until it lines up. Set it down on the workbench here. Next thing we're going to do is to grab our gear. Again, let's inspect it just like we do every other part. Make sure that it's in good shape. There's no burrs on there or broken teeth. Not that there ever has been, but I just like to double check. We're going to lay this down. You're going to see two tabs that stick up on the gear side. The other side's flat. You see two tabs on the gear side. And we're going to slide those down into the openings where the little tabs on the diff locker went, and there's also little grooves in the gasket. So we're going to line that up, place it down on top, inspect it, make sure that it fully seats down. The housing seats down inside the gear. And now we're going to install our screws. The screws that we're going to use are the M2 by 10 millimeter. And they, if you look in your screw package that it came with, they are the smallest and the thinnest screws that are in there. And we're going to go ahead and put the screws in. We're going to put them in just till they touch. You are screwing into plastic, so you don't want to get a monkey wrench hand on there. Just going to put it in till it touches. I'm going to do the same on the other three. I'm going to put this one in across, kind of like a little star pattern there. Do this for the camera. There we go. It's been a while since I made a video trying to build something in front of a camera so that everybody can see what's going on is not as easy as one might think. So just going to put that one down till it touches. Get the other two in. Again, I'm being real redundant here, and that's for your benefit. We'll speed up as the build goes on. I don't have to tell you how tight to put screws in. Just till it touches. One thing that I find really exciting about the RC industry is there's all different levels of participation. Some people can sit down and not even read the directions and build this kit in a couple hours. There's other people that it might be their first kit and it's going to take them a couple days to build it. Going to be searching and hunting for parts, not quite sure how things are put together or what they do. And that's one of the glories of this video, is that we try to pass on tips and tricks for everybody, whether you're a seasoned professional or a first-time builder. Okay, so we went around and retightened them up just until they're snug. And the last part of the build here is we're going to take one more of the bearings and slide it over a little metal portion, just like so. Alright, so we have completed the first page in our build, and we've built 1/2 of 2 of our diffs. So let's go ahead and, off camera, let's go ahead and build our second one. And we'll be back, we'll move to the next page, we'll get rolling.